Project Ion, episode 36,
Oh, geez, who knows?
I think.
Not
Right?
enough.
Yeah. How are you today, Kyle?
I'm good.
Good.
How are you, Jim Word?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
I go by Gandrax.
You go by, oh yeah, your screen name? Nice. Where'd you come up? Was that a random generator
it's
one?
random
Or
generator,
Okay. Q.
Key.
Q.
New South Park season. You've been catching up on that.
I have not seen South Park in a long
my God.
time. Yeah.
New stuff's great. Bunch of PC babies.
Yeah, I heard they were making fun of LeBron on a recent episode.
I haven't seen the newest one, but I
Yeah.
suppose he had a pretty good bite on China. China.
Yeah, LeBron's take of, well, now that it affects my pocketbook,
Yeah.
China's
no
great.
Yeah, everybody's uninformed on the, or what was it?
Uneducated,
that's right,
yeah. Says the guy that didn't go to college,
Yep.
right? I mean, people that know me know how big of a LeBron apologist I am,
Aficionado.
and yeah, sycophant and stuff. You know, I'd admit to that, but I mean, come on. This to me is worse than the decision.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, the
by a
decision's
long.
nothing
I mean,
compared
yeah,
to this.
this is crazy.
At least that mun went to charity, I think.
Right,
From
and
the
I mean, he made
decision.
a big spectacle about what team he was going to, but
Yeah.
we're talking about, you know, people's basic freedoms and
Yeah.
fighting for
Yeah.
human rights and that kind of
And
thing.
he's selling out to China.
And happy to bend the knee to Red China.
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever.
Well, anyway. What else is new?
Oh, not too much.
Good weather.
Yeah, it's been nice lately. A lot of yard work, working on the leaves here lately, and that is a crusade
Yep.
out here. And I kind of half-assed it anyways today just because,
Sick of it.
well, I was sick of it, but there's a whole lot of leaves yet to come down. So
Yeah.
I hate to just like,
Yeah.
take hours and hours of my time cleaning up stuff and going around with a tweezer picking up every little particle.
Kelly and I rearranged the shed in the garage last night, and that was a joy.
Mm-hmm.
But good night to do it, I guess.
Yeah, you bet. Well, short crew again. Kevin is sick, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. He said he'd be floating in the chat, so
Yeah, so we got one, but maybe that's just me.
probably. Well, I should talk about this quick now that I'm thinking about it. So did you watch last week's episode?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
We were talking about, the Beto O'Rourke
Beta.
position of, what was it? It was, taking tax exemptions away from churches, who,
yeah.
I guess the idea was if it was a church that refused to officiate a same-sex marriage,
Yep.
then the plan there would be to say, okay, fine, but you don't get to, you're going to start paying
Right.
property tax on your building, or you're going to start, counting your offering plate as income or whatever it might be. I don't know the
Yeah,
details.
Kevy's response surprised me. It makes sense that they should relinquish their tax-exempt privilege, point of personal privilege.
I was a little surprised by his take too. And I think he just was sort of confused about how the churches could get away with that. So I started digging into it a little bit to try to come up with somewhat of an answer. And what I found was, I think it starts probably with the holding in the Supreme Court case for same-sex marriage. So I remember reading it. I read it in con law a few years ago when I took the course, but I needed to refresh my memory on it. And the Supreme Court had found a fundamental right to marry in previous instances, like in the past. So what was being challenged basically was whether or not the Equal Protection Clause would extend to same-sex couples. And because at the time, there were a variety of states that had same-sex marriage bans altogether. Like, so you couldn't couldn't go get a marriage license if you were gay
Yeah.
and wanted to get married in whatever, South Dakota, take your pick. I can't remember the specifics, but this to give you an idea. And then they wouldn't honor or give full faith and credit to same-sex marriages from other states, that sort of thing. So the court held that, yes, the Equal Protection Clause does extend. So all states have to recognize and, sanction same-sex marriage under the Constitution. But that's the extent of the holding, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a little more detail and nuance to it than that. But it doesn't really create an affirmative duty anywhere on...
That you have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's probably where it's coming from. So what the church is doing essentially is like just, acting as an officiant for the actual legal
Yeah.
contractual relationship between two married parties, I guess. And,
Yeah.
you add on the whatever religious significance might exist there for the people. But, I think basically that's kind of where it comes from.
Yeah, and I mean, anybody can still say no to that, but the courthouse can't.
Right.
Right. So I guess I see both sides. Again,
Yeah,
I'm on the
well,
fence.
so, yeah, I mean, I get it, but my take on the law, the state of the law at least, is that no affirmative duty is created by any
Yeah.
particular organization besides
the government.
Besides the government to honor
Yep.
and recognize same-sex marriage. So, and that's really what was being challenged. So, the Beto O'Rourke plan to remove the tax portion, I think would create some interesting constitutional issues, because I think you'd probably see like free exercise challenges
Yep.
and probably maybe an establishment challenge.
Yep.
Because if you think about it, some churches would be big enough they could handle the tax thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how many out there would be forced into closure
Yeah.
because they couldn't
Yep.
afford the bills?
Awesome.
So then you'd have all these little people in rinky-dink churches that are real conservative and wouldn't want to officiate a same-sex marriage, be forced into closure. So,
Yeah.
and then probably every mosque
Oh yeah.
out there. So
99% of them. Anyway.
yeah,
That's interesting. Part of me wants, I don't know. I really enjoy the political drama today. I mean, it's not good for our country. It's not good for anybody, but God, it's entertaining. And part of me just wants to vote for the absolute worst candidate available just to continue the drama. Continue the
going.
sideshow. But, I mean, to be honest with you, at this point, obviously Rome fell in his historical context, but I think America still can survive, a heck of a lot more than a sideshow for 50 to 100 years. I mean, we're well established, obviously. So.
Yep. Well, a lot of resources, a lot of economic power. I've got a lot of faith in the country and its people to be resilient and that sort of thing. And so much of it is tied to sort of the overall economic prosperity and that kind of thing. And I don't know, we don't have much to worry about anymore, really, from a day-to-day standpoint. Life is so easy for even the poorest of Americans. Right. I mean, save maybe the ones that are homeless or something, right? The most destitute ones you can come up with, but
we don't have to go find water,
right? And even for the homeless people, there's still quite a bit available.
Oh yeah.
If people are able to take advantage of it, so
yeah,
depending on where you are. But all things considered, most people live pretty damn well.
Oh yeah.
In the United States in particular, and really, I mean, most of the industrialized world, So
want to manufacture something to talk about, so we, artificially create same-sex bathrooms or whatever, and that's just something to legislate because there's nothing else to do.
Latest thing. Well, yeah, I've wondered about that too. How much of the social justice stuff and the civil rights stuff and that kind of thing is being driven by sort of the activist moneymaker crowd
Yeah.
who, because, I mean, if we were looking at it historically, I think you'd be kind of incorrect to say that we haven't, in a lot of areas, made very substantial progress to a more egalitarian society. I mean, we're not, try as people might to make equivocations to Jim Crow South and slavery and gay bashing, and that, I mean, we don't have that kind of stuff.
How many other countries can have a gay pride parade where naked men are dancing around in the streets of their country? You know, I mean, to say that there's oppression in this country compared to Syria or Lebanon or something like that is asinine. But
well, yeah. So I guess, yeah, my point is only that just that there has been quite a bit of ground made up, and I think what's remaining are sort of these pocketed instances where things need to be. You know, maybe you make a good argument that something isn't fair at this juncture, or people are being poorly treated for one reason or another,
or that there was a crime, and there's crime everywhere. I mean, and then you throw hate crime on top of it, and everybody's outraged. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but I suppose, you know, maybe the activist community would argue that if they let up on the gas at all, then everybody would just quit paying attention. But I wonder if that's kind of the point too.
Right.
It's like, how do you make money giving speeches about how bad everything is for X identity group?
Yeah.
If it's like, well, you know, we're like 98% there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Woe is me.
Yeah. Right. But I don't know. I kind of wonder.
But neither of us are a minority.
Yeah,
so
we don't count.
We don't know what it's like to feel oppressed.
Well, you're a minority. You're left-handed, aren't you?
Oh yeah, left hand. Let's see how. What's that called? Like is it dominant? So all dominant hands matter. We should start a movement.
Well, to me at least, there's two kinds. I mean, there's either right-handed or incorrect.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I need to
keep my hate speech off this podcast.
I'm gonna blast you on Twitter for that. I'm gonna cancel the Project Ion podcast.
So Kelly's left-handed too, right?
Yep.
So what are the odds then that your son will also be left-handed?
Yeah, I don't know. I
because is it a hereditary?
That's
thing,
what I was just gonna ask. I don't know if it's genetics or heredity or not. I have to do some reading on that. I think it's more of modeling, like the kid sees you doing something a specific way and then they try to mimic it, and then if you do everything with your left hand, obviously the kid's gonna do the same. But I don't know, it'll be interesting. I think what I heard either from the doctor or maybe I read something, they don't really have a dominant hand until they're like, you know, over a year old, I'd say. But so it'll be interesting. I hope he's left-handed, shoot left-handed, throw left-handed. I keep thinking of sports, but
well, you're sort of an anomaly for lefties though, because you're kind of ambidextrous.
Yeah,
you're right left-handed, correct? But you do a lot of sports stuff right-handed.
Yep.
And you play guitar right-handed.
Yep. Golf right-handed.
So
pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I guess I bat maybe I bat lefty. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm a little bit that way myself. I always sort of like I snowboarded and skateboarded left-handed.
Yeah.
Like goofy footing is the way they call it, and which is weird. And I don't know. I can write with my left hand a little bit, but it's not, my penmanship isn't anywhere close to.
Right, and your penmanship's awful anyway.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just so bad. It's like, well, he writes as well with his left hand, it's just a little slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Cool. Well, let's dive into some material. So the first thing I wanted to bring up was the something called a First Amendment audit. Have you heard of this before?
I've heard of it. I don't know if I'm familiar with the videos, but
yeah. So
Give us a little background here.
Basically, what this is about is these guys go around and, trigger warning here, foul language and stuff shall ensue. But the idea is they go into government buildings and public places and stay on the sidewalk and videotape and that kind of thing. And what they're trying to do, I think, is sort of educate people in their sort of unique way here about all the misconceptions about where and when you actually have privacy and that kind of thing. Because people, for whatever reason, in the post 9/11 world are like immediately made nervous if somebody walks around with a camcorder and is videotaping them without explanation. But you'll be like, you won't think twice about a security camera somewhere.
Right.
So there's this kind of weird cognitive dissonance there, and people are under the misconception that you have to ask somebody's permission, or you have to grant permission to have somebody videotape you, which isn't true if you're in public.
Yeah.
And I mean, what's kind of clever about the way these guys do it is they say they're working on a story. Oh, I'm working on a story. I'm part of the press. I've got freedom of the press. This is part of the First Amendment. No, I'm not going to answer any questions. And people are like, what are you doing here? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I don't know. After having watched like 6 or 8 of these videos, there seems to be 3 takes. There's either don't tread on me.
Yeah.
Stand up for your rights. Or there's you guys are big jerks. It's just so mean. All you do is just get people all riled up.
Yeah.
And then the straddle in the fence kind of milquetoast take is, like the spirit of what they're doing, I can get behind, but their methodology is way too blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So, well, what are they doing it for?
So they're doing it just to push the envelope as much as possible on the First Amendment.
Raise awareness, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and of course they get this kind of content when people get all stirred up, and my inner troll just loves the conflict because people get so upset.
Yeah.
And this is a good one. So
all right, let's see it.
So anyways, to set this up, this guy's walked into the post office and he's talking to this lady, and she can see she's concerned already.
Hello. No, I'm okay, thanks. You're funny. I'm just taking pictures.
Not of me. Not of me.
Wow. I guess it's too late for that now.
So a post office, they can do that, right? You couldn't go into how would that work? Like a privately owned business?
Yeah, that's different. So
okay.
In a publicly funded space, there's it's just like same as like a sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's a clearly delineated, say like no people allowed, sensitive material, no videotaping.
Like
a school, yeah, that would probably be. I don't know. That might be
there.
different. That's a wrinkle to the law that I don't really know. But anyway, like this guy in this one, you'll see he points to a particular thing on the rules and guidelines for the post office, and it says right in there like videotaping is permitted in the lobby or something. I don't know. It's something to that effect. But I mean, I think in a real kind of a strict construction, technical sense of everything, these guys are in the right.
Yeah.
But of course, the paradigm here is to create antagonism and stuff. So.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be taking pictures. If you need a copy of the prices, I can.
Actually, could you guys? Is there a supervisor here?
It's over on the wall.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
2000.
Poster 7, the rules and regulations poster from the post office. It's right there on your wall. It says you can videotape.
Right there, too.
Oh, here it is. It says it right here. For news and advertisement purposes, I'm able to take pictures right here.
News and advertisement purposes?
Yes, ma'am. It's right there on your wall.
Right
What
there.
advertising are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to answer any questions. This is America.
No, this is.
Listen, sir. Step
You want
away.
to get bent? Want to get bent? Get out of here.
Do I want to get bent?
Is that correct, sir?
By who?
So you can already kind of see how this
Yeah.
goes.
Man, people get so edgy.
Well, and that's just the thing. Like, why is that so? Where
Yeah.
somebody walking around with a camera puts you on edge, but you don't think twice about a security camera somewhere? Because you're constant when you're out in public, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
That changes if you are at home or you're in a privately owned restaurant or something. Or I mean, that's different. Then you get to dictate what happens on private property, but the sidewalk,
Yeah.
the street, government building, it's different. And that these guys are very careful to stay in spots where they know that they've firmly got the law on their side.
Yeah.
And yeah,
He
so
wants to kill me fast. Gestapo like.
yeah, they do a lot
Disrespectful,
of
sir.
clickbait.
Excuse me, you're disrespectful for being in here
Because
doing
you don't
what
have our
you're
permission to
doing.
be videotaping any of us.
It's right
Ask
here.
them to
I
pull
don't.
the
It's
camera.
right
No,
here.
it isn't.
Yeah, read it, sir. It's right here.
Excuse me,
It's right here.
we're the ones in the picture.
Okay,
We
sir.
don't give you permission.
And you have to prove that you're part of any news or advertising.
Oh, you have to
company.
prove.
Since when?
Yes, you
Since
do.
forever.
This is America.
Since forever.
Look at that. Still.
That's a good one. Well, I mean, so I guess what I like, people in a uniform or, you know, people are so used to just acceptance of the rules for whatever. I mean, maybe this could be, have you ever like studied deviance and norms and that kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
thing
we
in
had a class
college?
on that,
I mean,
yeah.
so what this guy is doing, walking around with his phone and stuff and videotaping and being a jackass,
Yeah.
it's deviant behavior.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then immediately people are put on
Yeah.
edge by that because it's not just kind of going with the flow and go along to get along.
Yeah,
that
we're
kind of
really
thing.
bad at accepting minute changes to our routines, and that's interesting as a species because I don't know, like, you know, I guess animal or any animal, I guess, is kind of the same. You know, if you have a dog that does the same thing every day
Yep.
and you switch things up, they're gonna freak out. So that's interesting. And
Yeah,
the human psyche is crazy.
right. And they try to point to, well, it's the rules,
Yeah,
but they can't articulate it anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah,
It's kind of like that's where the majority of human critical thinking, or the majority of the population's critical thinking stops. It's the rules. They can't go any further than that.
Yeah.
It's like a roadblock there.
right. It's just what you do.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
that
part
kind
of that's kind of the way it is in school though too, because that's kind of how you teach, or how the majority of people teach is this is the way it is, but they can't reason behind
Yeah.
explaining why it is the way it is.
And I wonder, does that arise, do you think, out of just sort of like utilitarian thing where it's just like easier from a economy of thought standpoint to just kind of accept the paradigm, and then because you don't have to sit there and like prove every
Yeah.
little step
And
of everything.
for some
that you do?
material, that's okay. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, the Earth is round, therefore it has a certain speed it's spinning on its axis. Well,
Right.
to have an axis, it has to be round. So, yeah, I mean, for some things, it's totally acceptable. But for other, you know, phenomena, you need to be able to reason through it, especially in one of my physics classes that I teach. But it's just kind of interesting how the thought process stops at the rules said so. So,
Yep.
Yeah, this is
United
a.
States Constitution of
Oh, screw you. Oh, screw you.
Oh my God, sir, that's very disrespectful.
That was not nice, Grandpa. Yeah, this guy in this particular video gets all stirred up. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because there's kind of beefier stuff. These videos are long and kind of drawn out, but
well, I suppose that cameraman could follow him all the way home if they're walking home,
yeah,
and nothing you can really do.
no. I mean, you don't, I'm sorry, but you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy when you're walking around
Yeah.
on public property.
It's a
As in-
douche thing to do. But it's,
Sure.
I mean, it's
It is, but
entertaining.
so, okay, having watched a little bit of this and having thought about it, where do you think you fall on the three different takes to this?
I mean, I'm definitely not on the fence. I think it's a pretty douchey thing to do, but it's entertaining.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not opposed to watching it.
Sure.
I'm not going to boycott it or anything. It's super entertaining, but personally, just as a bystander, I'd be thinking, that guy's a douche.
Yeah.
I don't really want to associate with him. But.
Do you see the value in what they're doing to the extent that it's worthwhile to like push and
I
make
think
sure that
it's-
you're, because the thing that I think about when I see these is think of how much freedom gets evaporated just by, oh, well, that's the rules, or well, that's the policy here, blah, 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 whatever it might be. And you just kind of go along with it. And then your rights start to erode over time when that's the case.
I mean, if that's their intention, then that's fine. I don't know if they're
I'm
I'm
skeptical
of their intentions. If it's just some 22-year-old that's hell bent on.
Well, yeah, probably
something
older
to
than that.
prove.
Probably some 35-year-old
Yeah.
that's got a "Don't tread on me" flag flying in his yard. But
I wonder who that could be.
yeah. Yes, I don't know. I personally, I kind of like it, so I think I'm a little more in the camp of this is a good thing overall, and just people getting upset and that kind of thing is just a consequence that's necessary to making sure that your rights are. But I do see, so I'm probably maybe more in the fence sitter category. I do see that it's they're trying to create a scenario in which people they get a YouTube views. So
We're waiting for the cops so they can educate you on public photography laws.
Actually, they know exactly who you two are, and they've already claimed that you two are a fucking nuisance around here.
Oh, really?
You are upsetting patrons, and you do not have a legal right to do that.
Oh, really?
Well, that's
I don't
another
think-
thing. Are they disturbing the peace?
Well, so that's another kind of interesting thing. I haven't seen a few of these. So, again, these guys are real careful to, and everything's on video too. So there's like no way that you can revise history. It's like, well, he took a swing at somebody or he was threatening, because it's 100% is captured on film, unedited, and when the arc for most of these videos is they get people upset and then the police show up and there's some kind of conversation of you can do this, but I'd ask you to not block the door, I'd ask you to not harangue anybody and that kind of thing. But I mean, you can call people stupid on the sidewalk if you want to. I mean, you're well within your rights to do so. You do so at the risk of maybe getting punched or something, but of course, that would be breaking the law
on their part.
So, yeah. Anyways,
I guess we're going to jail today, bro.
I didn't say you were going to jail, but you don't have a right to be a public nuisance.
It is my right to film in public.
You don't have
We're not being nuisance. We're filming in public, sir.
what?
Broken no law.
I don't have to give anybody any explanation.
You have to give an ID of some kind.
I don't, sir.
Yes, you do.
I don't. We're not trying to be disrespectful.
You
We're
are,
trying.
though. If we'd asked you to stop filming us and you're
Look.
refusing to respect that,
Look.
then you are disrespecting
Look,
us. And
you
our
just
rights.
disrespected me right now.
Every time
So
you guys keep
relax.
cutting us
And
off,
you're not
we can't get a word in
disrespecting me
edgewise.
by
How
taking
would
my
you- how
picture?
can we explain
I'm not,
what
sir.
we're trying
Want
to
you
do
to?
here?
Well, you approached me first, sir.
I did not approach you. You're in there.
Did I talk to you? Or did you talk to me?
God, help me.
Somebody help.
so this is kind of what they're hoping for.
Yeah. Where's this at?
This is out east somewhere.
Okay.
I think it's. Some of these guys have been as close as Sioux City. I've seen a
Okay.
few Sioux City First Amendment audit videos.
Is it just one group or one?
Well,
or is it
it's
a
one
collection
kind of
movement
sliver of a community, but there's a few of these YouTube channels. So, anyways, lots of blah blah blah, and then let's see. So a cop shows up.
She's the one that actually called.
You can stop her.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, please inform her that what we're doing is perfectly okay.
So long
She's-
as you abide by the directives that I just, provided. That's
We have
stuff
all-
that you guys are totally familiar with, I'm sure.
We don't break policies and we don't break the law,
Yeah,
sir.
as long as you do that, there's no problem at all with you doing whatever you want to do.
They're actually, she was actually being very disrespectful to us, and it's on video. So, if anybody's wrong here right now, it's her.
Well,
That's not for us
Yeah.
to decide. That
you guys go
do
about
your
doing
thing,
whatever
man.
you guys have to do.
Thank you.
I would ask you that you're not videotape her while I discuss whatever the police call was.
If you want privacy, you have to create it, sir.
Yeah, you have to create privacy in public.
Yeah, so we're gonna go inside
Absolutely. Do your
and
thing.
you guys do whatever you want out here, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is basically the way they go. Cops show up
Walk of shame.
in this particular this particular video. The cop goes in and explains to her at length kind of what's going on, and you can see it through the video. And she's getting all up in arms and stuff about like why the cop won't arrest him
Yeah.
for something. And
Can you? That's another interesting point. Can you videotape from like a sidewalk into a public or a private business or home or
anything
something?
in plain view.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wouldn't be
That's why
any
we have
different.
curtains, I guess.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, through the glass like this, it'd be perfectly fine. You don't have a expectation of privacy of stuff that's in plain view, even on private property.
Yeah.
So, yep.
The sun is directly over our backs right now. Playing
But yeah, anyway, I don't think there was too much more juicy on this video. But see, she's telling them all about how mean they were and
Yeah.
stuff, and I think he's giving her the bad news of there isn't much to be done.
Right.
So yeah, any more thoughts on this at all?
No, it's interesting. I'm gonna have to check out some more of these videos.
Yeah, I really like them.
They're entertaining. That's for sure.
My inner troll just loves it.
Yeah. Yep. I wonder. I'm sure at some point there's got to be a few videos out there where somebody takes a swing at
Oh
them,
yeah,
I'm
for sure. Yep.
No, that's interesting. It's amazing how people can react to something so minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as having their photo taken,
Yep.
and part of that's kind of the internet culture too, where
Yeah.
everybody's paranoid of having their photo out on the internet,
Right.
but it already is.
It
so.
already is. Your phone number's out
Yeah,
there, your
email,
address, your
passwords.
email, everything, your social security number. It's all flying around out in the ether.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you might as well just let it all hang out
Right.
because it already is. If
Yeah.
somebody wants it that bad, they can come up with it. So, yeah.
All right,
and
cool.
one other thing the cop did that I want to make a comment on real quick is I've noticed in a few of these videos that there's like a tendency for the uniformed people, and this isn't just cops, but it could be the post office person or anybody really, that there's a tendency, even if they recognize what the laws are and stuff, that they want to tell them what to do anyways,
Yeah.
to whatever extent they possibly can. So it's like, so long as you don't do this, or,
Right.
it's like you're talking about a hypothetical.
Well,
It's like, well, it's a throwaway remark. Well, as long as you don't murder somebody, then I won't have to arrest you. It's like,
well, okay, so I guess no. I'm just thinking of a scenario where if a cop tells you to do something and you don't do it, are you refusing? You're not. I guess you're not under arrest. You're not refusing arrest. But, like, put the camera down.
yeah.
You don't have to do that. I
No.
wouldn't assume. So
And I think, generally speaking, police officers are pretty well informed of this and
yeah.
understand.
That's another thing. I've seen some videos similar to this, and it seems like most of the time, the police officers are very well educated with, knowing the public's rights and
Right.
stuff like that. But you never really hear about. I mean, I have a brother-in-law that's a cop and stuff, and I know he went through a ton of training, but I always imagine that training would be like de-escalation
Sure.
and stuff like that, and not just sitting in a classroom studying the rights of people. But I suppose if you just go by, there's probably a handful of statutes that you have to follow, and then under those statutes follow other rules and regulations.
Yep.
And I suppose it's probably all just kind of like a tree like that. But
Yeah. I think well, to me, it's a suggestion that law enforcement training in the United States is pretty damn good.
yeah,
All things considered, because, I mean, let's be honest, it is a pretty difficult job.
Yep.
And it would be just from kind of a man to man standpoint of, like I'm standing here with a gun.
yeah,
If I'm the cop and we got these guys that are acting like jackasses.
yeah,
100%. And your kind of caveman instinct, who's got the biggest stick in the jungle,
Yep.
would be to throttle them,
yeah,
I would think, and make them do what you want just to kind of smooth it over.
right,
But that's that's why the Bill of Rights is so important in this country, I think you can make that argument that and freedom comes at a high cost, and sometimes it's people getting upset. But
Yeah.
the actual harm here is zero.
None.
So that's why it is the way it is, at least in my opinion. But
Interesting.
yep. So there's other good ones we can maybe watch more in the future.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So you happen to see? Should we move into Rock On?
Move into Wassler territory.
Yeah.
God, that his intros to his songs just drove me nuts when you guys played them on the last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Just that full-on conversation with overdubbing and
Can we look at this first?
yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So Kyle has a connection to Rock On.
No,
Steve
I
that-
don't. There's no evidence. You can't see that picture's too grainy.
Yeah. Whatever. Kyle's got a connection to Rock On. Oh, before we do this, one tangent here. Tell the story of when, because do you remember when Rock On Steve first showed up? I feel like it was around this time. Because I think we were
probably.
living at Penny's. And we're like, oh, dude, we should get this guy up and jam with him. And didn't you email him or text him or something?
Yeah, I actually talked to him at one of the Laker basketball games. I'm like, I heard you play bass. We're kind of looking for a bassist. He's like, yeah, man, I'll get you my email and we'll talk back and forth. And so I emailed him. It's the weirdest thing ever. And he just went on about how he's not going to be, or he needs a copyright or something before he can even play with us. All this weird. Yeah. He's like, I can get you some of my tracks, but they're all copyrighted. And it's like, man.
Oh, no.
But like individually, from person to person, he still acts and talks and writes the way that he portrays. He still says "Rock On, Stephen Michael"
Yeah.
or whatever. It's weird. It's totally warped.
It's not like he's being
Playing-
disingenuous
yeah,
at any
he's not
point.
playing a character. It's
He just
just-
is what he is. Yeah.
Which is kind of respectable, but
Yep.
at the same point, I mean, what are you doing in Esterville, Iowa?
Well, I guess the community has embraced him to the extent that he feels comfortable here, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the community has got their arms open for
Right.
new people. I don't know if we could or should even turn people away
Right.
when
Build a
we're
wall.
we're bleeding population all the time.
Yep.
And hey, he wants to run for public office, so
Vote
more
for
power to
Steven.
him. But anyways, Kyle played in a staff basketball game against the seniors of class of 2013, and Rock On Steve was
That was 2013.
the coach for the seniors, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the coach for the staff? Was there one? Or
Oh,
you
I
just-
think it was some of the stat girls or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Because I remember I went to this game. I remember it well. I can still see it in my mind's eye. It was tight at the end. Lutz hit a 3. You and Lutz were like carrying everybody, as I recall.
Well, yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of 50-year-old teachers on our team. I'm in my prime athletically, and so is Lutz.
But yeah, Lutz hit a 3, and then you were cut the last play. I think you had maybe a chance to tie or win, and Tony Klein fired a pass, and it went like 10 feet over your head because I think you were cutting to the basket,
Yeah.
and like maybe Tony was out on the wing or something, but it was a bad pass by TK.
Yeah.
But,
God, TK, turnover in crunch time.
yeah.
Come on.
But I suppose you could maybe assign blame to TK, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
probably a lot of crappy defense.
Oh, God. Well, we had Steve
Up to that point,
McCulley.
yeah.
And
Was Frank playing in that game?
I don't know. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Frank and
Yep.
York and TJ
Oh,
and
God.
probably Rezak or
Bosma. and Reason.
Bosma.
Man, it's a lot of minutes to float around.
Oh man, well we can read the why just try to recall it when we can read
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rundown written by our very own Dave Schwartz. So it was a game for the ages, or at least for bragging rights. His Yesterville Lincoln Central senior boys basketball players defeated the ELC staff 56-53
Breaks my heart. Man, we put up 53 points.
in a
That's
fundraiser
incredible.
for the Midgets boys basketball program. The staff, a team consisting of the boys basketball coaches and other ELC personnel, trailed by as many as 9 with 3 minutes left. Yeah, that's right. He went on a hot run. Lutz hit a 3, and I think you were getting some buckets in there. But they cut the deficit to 1. Yep, 54-53 on a three-pointer by Lutz with 37 seconds left in the contest. A steal by TK appeared to give the staff a chance, but he couldn't stay in bounds, and his off-balance pass.
Yeah, I remember that. He was just kind of like falling out of bounds.
Off-balance pass to teammate Kyle Grems went in the hands of a senior. Here's a quote from TK. I haven't played at this level for a while, and with the adrenaline rush, the ball goes 10 feet too far.
That's awesome.
Then Evan Hansen was fouled and made his free. Yep, I remember that now. York had a look at a 3, probably a 40-footer.
Yeah.
10 seconds, but missed. The way I was shooting tonight, I was hoping the ball would go in rather than thinking the ball would go in, said Pleggy, who was
Still
held
scoreless. Well, yeah, you're 6'9", shooting from
Come on, York.
25 feet out.
He did the same thing in slow break. Remember
Yeah.
that? I don't think he had 1 rebound the whole season. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Stephen Wassler, also known as Rock On Steven, coached the senior squad and explained his game strategy after the victory. No timeouts.
Timeouts. It's a good strategy.
Is that good is it unconventional coaching
Yeah.
right there to
Yeah,
not call a
it's
timeout?
Revolutionary.
Sort of like the space and pace offense or
Yeah. Run and gun.
run and gun.
No timeouts. And we did not use them.
They had to stay on the court longer. We also pressured them and were aggressive, and we did that to come away with a win. Okay.
I didn't know
Yep.
Daily News had an archive like this.
Former ELC standout and freshman coach Kyle Grems
Yeah.
gives a ball fake to Derek Neeland.
Yeah. Well, what's former standout doing now? Not much.
I think you dropped. Let's see. How many? Do you remember how many points he had? Does it say here?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, Grems led all scorers with 22, while Lutz had 16. Johnson had 7. Bosma had 6. Yeah. Pleggy, John the trainer, and McCauley and TK and Hewitt were all held scoreless.
That's quite the crew.
If you would have had one more scorer,
Yeah.
I think you probably would have won by 10
Oh, yeah.
in that game. But oh well. As I recall though, I don't think they were running. They were kind of playing your speed.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was, it sounds weird. That was what, 7 years ago now. And the game's changed even since then.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot faster. And we didn't play fast. I remember that team well. We didn't play fast back then. So they didn't really know how to run the floor and play fast. But yeah, it's changed a lot since then, which was obviously to our benefit in that game. But
Well, I think I kind of remember when you guys were training for that. Because did you have a practice or two?
Yeah.
Where you just kind of scrimmage? I think I
Yeah.
showed up to it.
Yeah,
one or
you
two of
played,
those,
yeah. yeah, that was fun. That's one thing I miss with York. He was
Into that stuff.
He was into that stuff, building, and Nick right now does a great job with that stuff too. But it's a different time for sure. I don't know if we could put something like that together now, where we'd have a staff full of there was like 10 teachers that played on that game. I don't know if you look around in the high school right now, you could find that.
Yeah.
So
And do you think you'd even want to
yeah, I
at
don't.
this point?
Probably not. No one
Yeah.
could keep up. I mean,
Yeah.
the game's changed that much. So
Sure.
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how much we've changed in just a short amount of time. So.
Yeah. What do you think the reason for that is? Is it the Golden State Warrior game style that just
a lot
is?
of it's TV. And a few teams do it, bring success. So, you always, obviously as a coach, you want to mimic success, and
Yeah.
if that's what's working, then you're going to adopt it. And that's kind of where the game's at. No one walks the ball up anymore. It's always push, 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 push. So you have to keep getting guys in shape more. It's less about the big man. It's more about how quick your guards are and how you get to the hoop and how good of a shooter you have. So we rarely in practice, it's less focus on points in the paint. It's more make 150 threes before you can leave the gym and get your butt in shape. So it's weird. It's weird. We used to, when I was coaching, when I just got into it about 8 years ago or so, we'd spend a third of the practice just working on paint touches, points in the paint, and post moves and that sort of thing. Even if you didn't have a post player, everybody needed to do it. But now it's up and down, up and down, up and down, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, up and down, up and down, up and down. So, and that's what you have to do. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just the way the game's changed. So, transition defense, shooting. So, crazy.
I think, didn't you even tell me that you were maybe talking to Troy or somebody, or maybe it was one of the other Iowa Lakes coaches, but the idea was just like even the recruiting has changed as a reason because they're looking for kids that are, they'd rather have like 5 kids that are 6'4" that can handle the ball, dribble, rebound, do everything than get one 6'8" kid to play down low or something.
And that's kind of been, if you think about Esterville's basketball teams for the last 10 years, that's kind of been our Achilles heel. We don't have that one big man, but that's where a lot of our teams were at least a 6'4", 6'5" kid away from being pretty decent. And you look at teams like Spirit Lake and Spencer and Lamar's that consistently have those 6'4", 6'5" dudes. You just can't win. And if you have a 6'4", like you just said, 6'5" dude that can run the floor in high school, you can't stop him. So. It's a changing time.
For sure.
But
well, I wonder if it'll take a swing in the other direction eventually. Like,
I hope so.
Could another Shaq come along and warp defenses as a result of the ability just to score at will on the block, and now all of a sudden the kids think that's cool. And
it's the NBA has a ton of sway in the way basketball's played all around the world. So everybody's trying to mimic the best. And
right now it's kind of the Steph Curry
run and gun
deal.
So
it's interesting. I wonder, I'm real curious how the Lakers are going to do. Because they're a little different than what you think kind of the norm is, where you've got more like what you're talking about, maybe a less traditional big man. Maybe got to play kind of small ball or whatever they call it. Stretch 4s and shooting 5s and that kind of thing. I think the Lakers can put 3, well, maybe not legitimate 7-footers, but 3 of them on at the same time that are right in that 6'10", 6'11". Because they've got Dwight, they've got JaVale McGee, and they've got Anthony Davis. So that's huge.
And
then Kuzma and LeBron could be your other 2.
It's a pretty salty 5.
I mean, that's humongous.
That's
your smallest guy's 6'8".
That's big even for the NBA.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I miss, I always thought coaching was a lot more difficult when I first got into it because it was so much slower and you had to have set plays that kids could run perfectly. Whereas now you maybe call a set every 4 or 5 times down the court, and otherwise it's just playing. So you really have to. It was really hard, way harder to be an in-game coach 7-8 years ago than it is today, because now the kids are just going out there and playing, and that's what everybody's doing. It's not just it's not just here.
Just playing pickup, essentially.
Essentially, yeah, where you try to teach all the little things, transition wise, and all the, like I said, the little stuff in practice, and then when it comes game time, turn them loose. It's weird.
Do the kids get into a thing where they'll like run pick and roll and stuff like that?
That's what you try to instill
Yeah.
in practice. I mean, you don't really teach sets anymore. It's more tendencies. Like,
Okay.
you know, Isaac Sander, he's left-handed. Okay, where do you want to set a ball screen for him if you're running in transition? Well, you want to get him going to his left so he can set up and shoot. So it's just little things like that, you know. Octavius, what's his tendency? Well, he wants to get to the hoop. So what are you going to do as a big man if Octavius is coming down the floor on your side? You're
Sure.
gonna get out of the way.
Right.
Okay? So, and that's what you try to get done in practice, where, you know, when it comes game time, you let them roll, and then if you see something, that's when you call something. But yeah, it's changed. It's not run 2 this time
Yeah,
down,
right.
run 3 next time down. You know?
Well, that's how it was when I was a kid. We had 6 or 8 plays. And,
Yep.
you know, I don't know. It was
And-
all half court offense kind of.
Right,
Yep.
and that's changed too, because you used to have a set spot where you'd need to be and a set person you'd need to screen in your offense. And that's unheard of now. And now it's just dribble drive, dribble kick. You know, you have areas that you'd like to occupy. You just
Sure.
don't have certain tasks you need to do in your offense.
No more feeding the beast.
Yeah.
It's a sad day. Save that for slow break. I
That's
guess.
right. Kevy said, I just tell my players you got to score points to win the game.
Sports ball.
Sport ball. Yeah, we've been talking about sports.
Yeah,
ball
it's
too
true.
much.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little out of our wheelhouse. It's a rare treat to talk
Yeah.
basketball on the podcast, but
Yeah.
we can move on to Rock on Steve's speech here. So the name of this speech is "I Am Cool" by Steven.
I am cool.
Yep. Whoop.
Do we have
And,
a comment on that? Although
Oh.
there's only 9 views.
Hello, world. This is one of my college speeches at Ilk that I enjoyed presenting, and that my professor felt confident that I was the one person that would effectively deliver. I did. Now rock that. Party on, people. Okay.
Oh, God. All right, let's hear it. You wearing gloves?
Yeah, he's a gloves guy.
Yeah.
But it's the fingerless.
Ooh, the hobo gloves.
Let's back that up so we get a see. It's t-shirt, gloves. I think he's playing one of his music videos in the background for his
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah, I hear there's a lot of voices.
I'm doing a speech on why I am cool. To me, there are many material things why we're cool. We're outward cool, we dress cool, we have cool hair, we do cool things. These like material things on the outside. And these
What? This is so bizarre.
So we've learned from his music videos that he has a tendency to
Overdub.
overdub. Yeah, exactly. Like 50 tracks of him just saying weird stuff. And it's impossible to hear it. So, but I guess he's added one more by trying to give a speech on top of himself talking over and over.
really important that displays why a person's cool. And thank you, Jesse. I'll turn that together.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, turn it off, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And there are so many reasons why a person can be cool outwardly. For me, I'm cool because I'm a musician, I'm a songwriter, a film director and producer. I have 7 music films on YouTube and Facebook. This is my latest one here titled My Hallelujah. And this one actually also has a supermodel, a European model in it that's a very, very good friend of mine. She asked
Supermodel.
Did you hear that?
Supermodel. European.
European supermodel that's a good friend of Rock on Steve.
Yeah. Well, I can assure you I'm not going anywhere with that.
Nope. Say it.
No.
You can't just give us the tip and
Well,
not
that's
stick
kinda,
it in all the way.
that's kind of where I was going with that. So. Yeah.
So, all right. What are the odds that he's telling the truth right now? A supermodel
Okay.
is a good friend of his.
I'm not. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not debating whether Steven has a friend that's a girl. I am skeptical of the idea that she's a European and a supermodel. Or a supermodel. Or European. Not in that order. So the only conclusion I can come to is that Steven probably has a friend that's a girl.
Okay. All right.
It's me to be in my music.
Okay. I think we're missing an important part here. I'm going to back this up like 2 shakes.
This one actually also has a supermodel, a European model in it that's a very, very good friend of mine. She asked me to be in my music film. I was like, what? Yeah.
Oh, God. Man, this is so, like, narcissistic. It's like passively narcissistic. Not really even passively. I don't know.
A
It's
supermodel
yeah.
asked Rock On Steve to be in his vid. It's like, hey, Steve, I'm Kate Upton. Please put me in your music video.
And I'll pay you. I was like,
So-
wow.
All right, Steve, I'm going to level with you real quick here. At best, you're getting catfished.
Yes. Yeah. At best.
I'm,
And she
I
might
don't
even
believe
be
any
a
of this
man.
is true. I mean, I think Steve is living in his own reality.
Yeah, there's some mental.
I think there's something going on
Something,
here.
yeah. I don't know what the diagnosis would be, but
My armchair diagnosis is that he fried himself out at some juncture,
Yeah.
and he's just riding the wave
Yeah.
from here on out.
yeah. Zach says we're approaching dubception here. If we go too deep, we will never return.
Yeah. And so who can say no to that? So as this is playing, you can see her in it as well. And so that's part of being cool, is writing and playing and performing music, and then being in the newspaper as well about it.
That's totally cool.
And being in the newspaper as well about it. Did you hear that?
That's like a Rev Sharpton line there. As well about it is that we all are.
This makes me more uncomfortable than the First Amendment.
Yeah, my
audit.
palms are like
I'm
sweating.
just like, ugh, yeah, come on,
make
Steve.
it stop. Or deliver a point. Well, I'm totally cool because I got long hair, and that's kind of what makes me cool. But I also have a video, and that's what's cool.
If you had to give, so let's say you've got to give a speech on the same subject matter, like, for the same topic.
Why am I
How do
cool?
you spell out? What are your things that you hit on why you're cool? Because I mean, he's talked about how he's a musician and a songwriter and stuff. So what do you say?
I would say, oh God, I wouldn't even deliver the speech because it's so asinine. It's so juvenile. Why am I cool? Well,
You could say stuff like, you're a father, or
Yeah.
you're,
if I was forced
know.
to give a speech,
Yeah,
on
right,
why-
that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah, I suppose I'd say I'm a father, I'm a husband, I
Got a
teacher,
job,
got
yeah,
a job,
teacher.
pay my taxes, flaming Republican. I'm a transitioned Republican.
ultra conservative,
Yeah, MAGA wearing,
authoritarian, conservative authoritarian. You and
borderline fascist.
Hitler. Yep.
That's why I'm cool. By Kyle Joseph.
Oh dear. Yeah, I don't know what I would give mine. I think I'd probably say the same stuff. Like, dude, I'm a musician. See my
Yeah.
guitars hanging in the background and stuff, bro. Like, rock on, party on, people.
I don't know. I wouldn't give the speech.
Well, I don't think a sensible person. I
Right.
mean, if I assume this was an assignment, give a 10-minute speech about something.
Yeah.
And I would probably talk about the Constitution or
Yeah.
World of Warcraft or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
Anything but
Why
why
you're
I'm cool.
It's like something a third grader would give a speech about. You know, if I asked my when I was teaching kindergarten, and I asked those kids, I want you to tell something to the class. The boys would be like, I totally scored 2 touchdowns at recess.
Yep.
And that's kind of what we're dealing with here.
The girls would be like, what?
The girls would be like,
I got a pretty haircut
Yeah.
last Thursday.
I got 2 new Barbies for
yeah,
my birthday.
Barbies are, yeah.
And then they're on display in a stand.
And
away.
I don't play with them.
Yeah.
Don't want to get it dirty.
No.
Yeah.
Kevy says why I'm cool. I'm a podcaster.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep.
I've had several newspaper articles about me being a writer, a published author also. And here's one.
So is he actually published?
Well, he paid somebody to publish him.
Yeah, because to me that doesn't really constitute being published.
Right. I mean, I could.
Anybody can do that.
Yeah,
right?
you can post something on a blog and technically you're published. I mean,
But yeah, even a book though, like
Right.
you can just pay
somebody
to
put
print
it
a book
together.
for
Yeah,
you, right?
put it together, and you're responsible for sales. You're responsible for marketing.
Well, because that's what the Manatee did.
Yeah. Yep. What was that book called? again?
Eternal Undying Love.
that's
you want to read a little bit of it real
Yeah,
quick?
we better do that. Do you have
It's
it?
on
Okay.
Amazon. I
There
can
were
find it.
gangsters and dropouts
Yeah,
and
it's got,
skinheads and Jews.
we'll read it. It's hilarious. Eternal Undying Love.
Eternal Undying Love. This is kind of like on the same track, though. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about really crappy novels
Brett Keane.
by people who are totally clueless.
Where do you go to see inside? Is there a
There
is
should
it down further or something? Or
Yeah.
I know I've done this before. Customer somebody put up a Nazi sign. Here's a review situation. Horrible book. Fraudulent reviews individual. The author is a notorious scam artist. Don't buy this crap. Save your money.
All right, scroll up. Maybe it's in the. God, there's got to be a way.
Yeah, I know there was. Oh yeah, look inside right here. Dedicated to Cindy A. Keene. One day we'll meet again in heaven. ... Strangers of the night and day. The end. Chapter. What?
Strangers of night and day. The end. Chapter 1.
You got the Bible verses there. Here we go. So look, it's all centered,
The margin.
and it's nothing's like text justified at all. Look at this. I'll start reading it. In a small town called Quiet Meadows, teenagers crowded the sidewalks in front of the high school. Freshmen who were new to the high school searched for others like them, so they wouldn't have to stand there alone. The preps had their clique, and the burnout metalheads with their hard ways stood back against the wall.
Indent.
Trying to act cool, but just as anxious to meet. Jesus, this sentence is horrible. Let me try again. The preps had their clique, and the burnout metalheads with their hard ways stood back against the wall, trying to act cool, but just as anxious to meet someone they could connect with as well. Jeez. The pressures of high school had already begun. Before the first bell had even rung, a group of jocks circled like vultures around a short young man, mocking the way he walked and talked. Just made matters worse when he stuttered. Leave me alone. Tim always stuttered when he was nervous. They taunted him and slapped him in the back of the head, causing him to drop his books and school supplies. A short distance away stood Tim's old friend Mike, who used to be just like him but vowed to change the time had come for high school, when the time had come for high school, excuse me. However, Mike was still weak and not as strong as some of the others were, but smart enough not to interfere when trouble arose. God, there's so much going on here. He just stood back sipping down a cream soda. Rap music was blaring away from the school parking lot. The blacks blared the bass for all the state of Missouri to hear, even when those did not appeal to.
Oh, that's pretty racist.
A group of skinheads who were closer to the school mumbled and cursed, directing it toward the blacks.
This is the most diverse school. We got skinheads, we got blacks, we got
Hipsters,
jocks,
burnouts,
Jews.
Okay, group of skinheads who were closer to the school mumbled and cursed, directing it towards the blacks. 2 rows down in the parking lot, a sophomore by the name of Steve Manning scrunched down in his seat, shooting up steroids, for he knew he needed power and strength if he ever planned to play high school football. Was that the case for you in your football career?
Yeah, needed to do steroids.
Doing
big
roids?
time.
He got his cheerleader girlfriend hooked on smack and speed.
Oh my god. Who has smack and speed in high school?
I guess I'm not a drug aficionado, but I kind of thought they were the same thing.
Yeah.
What's smack? Is that heroin or
I
something?
thought it was
or?
like wasn't speed like PCP?
I don't know. That's
I'm not sure.
Let's ask the chat. Can you delineate, smack and speed and mac and cheese and whatever else?
An audiobook be made by the members of Project Iron. Then there were the blood.
Then there were the blood-bought Christians, saints of God, Christians who watched from the sidelines, judging everything around them that didn't agree with the way their parents had blindly taught them. Now they watched with no intention of helping, as the unpopular young man Tim was still being terrorized by the jocks.
So we got somebody shooting up speed. We got the
blacks. The blacks are blaring rap music. The skinheads are taunting the blacks, and the
somebody
burnouts
was doing steroids.
and the metalhead. And Mike was doing steroids.
Something like that. Man, we're setting up quite a novel
Oh
here.
my God! They just turned their backs on him and giggled to themselves about what they did after church service last Wednesday. They tried to make themselves righteous when a freshman girl who practiced Wicca walked by and chuckled sarcastically. Love the neighbor, ha! Doesn't Tim live right next to you, Susan? Now, who's Tim again?
He's the one that's getting bullied.
Oh, yeah, he's a gimpy, retarded kid,
Yeah.
or whatever that they're all picking on, right? Go to hell, Satan, bitch.
What an intelligent Christian said. Showing her true colors. I told you 1,000 times that Wicca does not deal with Satanism or God. She was abruptly... Or wait, I forgot. I lost where I was at.
She was interrupted by Susan,
yeah.
the Christian. Yeah, we know you're a nature person. Now go to hell. The Wiccan girl was pissed, but she didn't get violent. She just turned her head and held her hand directly up to Susan's face, then proceeded to give her the bird. We would just get suspended, in trouble, by our family, and, well, it's just not God's will. Susan slapped her hand away. Jenny smiled as she walked towards the fight. Now, who's Jenny?
Pete, is she the Wiccan?
Maybe? I don't know. I can't keep track of all this. Okay. She looked back and chuckled. Was it God's will to make out behind the music building with the captain of the football team? Susan's face turned flush, and she denied it ever happened. But it did many times. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The manatee's getting spicy.
The high school was a carnival of chaos. Oh, my.
Oh, jeez.
If you had to rate this...
Oh, God. 0 stars.
0 stars?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Man.
That's the worst book ever.
This is a long book, too. It's like...
It's a 3-part series.
Yeah.
This is just part number 1.
Man, I don't know whatever would happen.
You can get it from Amazon for the low, low price of $15.
It's got his website on the book cover, too.
GodHatesYou.org.
GodHatesYou.org. Oh, good lord. All right, I need some Rock On Steve.
Okay, go back to the
Yep.
speech here. We're only a minute and 43 seconds in.
That was in the Esterville newspaper. I've also been in newspapers on the East Coast about the promotion of my book as well, so I'm really excited about that.
Horrible camera work, by
Yeah.
the way, here. I'm like
who's
hearing
doing
it
it.
rattle around. It's clearly just somebody holding on to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not on a tripod or anything.
Yeah.
Looks like the audience is pretty engaged.
Yeah, I mean, I would be too, though. I mean,
Yeah.
just for the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a little visual. Here is the first cover design of my first novel, and I was really excited about this. And a young lady in Esterville is my assistant project manager.
Is she also a supermodel?
Gotta be. Project manager.
I designed it, but she's the one that did all the digital format and put it in the computer. And this is the first printed copy of what my novel was going to be looked at. That I was sending to my publisher, so my publisher had not even seen this yet, so we just designed it. So. And as filming.
So what do you think of this is going to get tinfoil hat-like here?
Yeah.
But what would you say, or what do you think the odds are that Rock On Steve could be a huge troll? Like, would he?
Oh, man. That would be the troll of the century.
It would be the best troll ever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, 6 years of crafting this
Yeah.
ridiculous persona that
Man, I don't know. I think he's just burnt out.
Occam's razor, I think, would
Yeah.
suggest he's just being genuine all
Yeah.
the time. But
Man, that would be awesome. That's a great idea.
like, what if he got a haircut and stuff
Yeah.
and
came out as like a
was like-
PhD
Yeah.
psychologist or something?
yeah, like maybe he's working on some case study or something,
Yeah.
like trick a whole town into thinking I'm a screwball.
Yep. See if I can get elected mayor.
It could be all coming to fruition here. Steve, has like just invented all this stuff, and he's enrolled in all these classes and made horrible music videos and
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
get everybody lulled into a false sense of security. He's like, look, I tricked him.
And writing a song is very, very challenging. And because first I have to write the music, I have to write the words and the melody, and then put it all together. And since I do not have a band, I play all the instruments. So,
Somebody was late.
so everything you're seeing and hearing here, oh, there's Oxenia there.
Oxenia?
Oofta. I don't know, maybe.
Is that a name?
I think that's the European supermodel.
Okay.
And she was born in Moscow, but she lives in Paris now. So she just flies from Italy, Paris, and Moscow, just wherever she needs to be at a moment. And she's in Taipei and Taiwan today on a new model shoot. So she's like super huge all over Europe.
Yeah, I bet she is.
I wonder how you spell that. I'd be
Yeah, I'd like to
curious
look her up.
look into it.
And, so it's really nice to have people like her, you know, that wants to be in my music film, because she heard my previous 5. Then she was like posting on Facebook, so Steven, I would really like to be in your next music film. I'm like, what?
No, oh my. Yeah. Yeah. This just makes me mad, really.
All right, let's explore those feelings a
Yeah.
little bit,
'cause
Kyle.
I really hate people like that who just think so highly of themselves that they need to tell everybody about it. And I don't know. It's,
Okay. Here's another scenario. Rock On Steve comes to town, dicks around and stuff, and does his woohoo, Rock On.
yeah.
Turns into a little bit of a local celebrity as a result. Now, do you think some supermodel from Moscow and Italy and stuff is going to find him out of the blue
Yeah.
and think, you know what I want to do for my career is have a cameo in
Yeah.
a Rock On Steve video? Or do you think it'd be some like douchebag kid from Iowa Lakes that made a fake account or something and starts messaging him?
But how would that girl be on his video then?
Well, I think it was just still frames. I think I've seen a few of them, and it was just pictures.
Ah.
It wasn't like a videotape or anything.
Oh, then it's definitely a catfish. That's awesome.
I'll dig in a little bit more and see if I can
shoot me a
find-
link.
What did he say the name of the song was?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll go back and look it later, and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of this. Because it's a mystery, and I need to solve it.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, so we just kind of went for it. She sent me a bunch of clips. That's her. And I wanted clips that are not in, like, modeling magazines like Vogue, Cosmopolitan, Modeling World, things like that. The whole world's seen. So she sent me all clips that no one has seen. These are like her personal modeling photographs. So that was really cool. But back to songwriting. Songwriting is
He's mentally ill.
Are we into the mentally ill
yeah,
zone?
There's.
Because if that's the case, then I think we have to drop our efforts here because it's just too mean to be picking on somebody that's like legitimately crazy.
I think so. I mean, there's no way you could reasonably accept that this chick just sent you pictures of her own personal pictures that aren't in Vogue or Cosmopolitan yet, and she wants you to use them on your music video that has 36 views.
Has that ever happened to you?
No.
Dang.
No.
Me neither.
Yeah. I guess we're just not cute.
We aren't cool. That would have to go in our speech about maybe our version could be why we're not cool.
Yeah.
Our attempt at songwriting was, I guess, a cascading failure. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. How would you describe the?
I'd say it was
the Fig catalog.
I'd say it was a fun hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we had any. Personally, I didn't have any.
Big investment in it.
Yeah, or wild aspirations.
Yeah.
It was just fun to play with you guys. So.
Yeah. I think our biggest audience was probably either the radio in Spencer with Scott Nolte or maybe your graduation party. Vic started playing it on the...
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Well, yeah, my reality check came when like Mo was having a party and playing like Fig music and... some douche was there, and he's just like, "Fuck, turn that shit off! Stuff fucking sucks." Because everybody'd been like, "Oh, you're so good, everything's great." You know, like when you're only listening to like my mom and Sherry and Mo and Tracy, like that's your audience. Just like, "Oh, that's so good."
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, maybe I am terrible."
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, it's like every song is about aliens or
homeless people
being a hobo, and then it's just all.
Yeah.
You know, and
put on some Lil Wayne.
Yeah. So, I guess that was the day I learned I sus.
Oh, boss. We're just not cool.
Long process, and especially when you're going to make a music film out of it. And I want to share everybody this. This will give you a little idea what.
I'm going to not go with the theory that he's crazy.
Really?
I mean, I think he's more mentally stable than others might think. I mean, I'm going to go with he's a burnout thing, and he's got a warped reality. But like, I bet he could understand like the terms of a contract or something, or he'd like probably have like legal capacity to make his own decisions and that kind of thing. And I guess that's my floor or ceiling, however you want to look at it, for
I guess
whether or not you're crazy.
Yeah, that's where I think we differ. My I would loop or lump narcissism and being a sociopath into some mental illness. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's definitely. I think there's some intelligence there. I mean,
sure.
He's
He's rocking on.
Yeah.
He's got the Rock On Cafe too. Did you know about that?
Oh God, I heard about that. Wow, how did that? The Rock On Cafe that wasn't out of his house?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, like you can pay him to make you frozen pizza or something like that. The Rock On Cafe.
Rock On Cafe. Oh jeez. Tell OSHA shut him down.
Yeah, Spurge wants to cover some Rock On Steve
Yeah.
material.
Save
Yeah,
some of
so
it.
we'll have to save some of it till next time he's on.
Speaking of Spurge, Prince sucks.
Yeah, maybe we should explore this a little bit. You and Spurge,
You got a riff?
you guys, so on a previous episode we found some it was a little blurry. We had some footage of a mystery person doing a dance at a pep rally
That
at
wasn't
the
me.
SKU.
Wasn't me.
And Spurge seemed to want to assign that, the identity of the mystery person to our very own Gerald Greenberg.
Yeah, who's that?
And I got a text from you as it was happening. And I'll spare the audience the
Yeah.
bad language. I don't want to take the flack for this because it really was. I mean, Spurge was out for blood
Yeah.
after the whole Prince thing. So I mean, do
guess.
you have a clap back or?
Nah, I don't know how bad musicians can be so triggering. Hey. Is what it is. Yeah. I'm not talking. I'm just let the music talk for itself, and it's us.
So, what's the worst Prince song in your estimation?
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. Okay. Do you have a second worst Prince song?
When Doves Cry.
When Doves. Okay.
Third worst, 1999.
So, if you could pull a Thanos, snap your fingers, and erase the entire Prince catalog from the music lexicon,
Yeah, it's given
Would
us
you do it?
nothing. It's advanced music. It hasn't advanced music at all. It's just Prince is a footnote on rock and roll. I'd call it more R&B, maybe soft pop than even rock and roll. He's just not he's kind of like, let's see, how can I phrase this? He's kind of like the Hawkeye interior offensive line versus Penn State or Michigan.
ooh,
They just kind of get pushed over.
Ooh,
They're just
man.
non-existent.
That is wow,
Leads to an overall loss in the music industry.
wowzers, strong words.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Prince.
Yeah,
Is he? Oh, he died, right?
he
Yeah,
did
he's
die.
dead.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I don't know.
I have a feeling that Spurge is gonna go postal once he hears all this. I'm worried.
Yeah.
We may have a fist fight here someday.
Prince. Prince, I think, wanted to be the next Michael Jackson. He turned out to be like what's that guy's name? Shoot. That gay piano player, not
Liberace.
Liberace, yeah. Prince
Like I'm
is
playing trivia. Liberace.
yeah.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
that's kind of where I'm at, and I think that's kind of the consensus from the music industry is that Prince is just kind of he was there. People kind of knew of him at the time. If you said Prince, you kind of figured that that's the weird dude that has that weird looking guitar and now identifies as a symbol.
Yep. Turned himself into a check question mark.
Right,
thingy.
but no one really knew his music. No one could really sing the words to his song and knew the melodies or anything like that. They just kind of said Prince was kind of in vogue. He was the person to like. So,
All right. Well, did you have anything more you wanted to cover at all, or? We're
No,
at about
I-
an hour and a half.
yeah, we better wrap her up.
All righty. Yeah, 2:30.
Look forward to talking to you, Spurge.
Yeah. Round 3 will be coming up soon. Okay, see you later.
Bye.
See